Hello, what we're going to do today is have a quick look at help, diagnostics, and support within the Nova platform. Let's start with help. The most useful thing, I think, is that when you are in the editor, editing any item of the configuration, you have the option of selecting a field and just pressing F1. And if you press F1, this little help will appear over here, giving you a description of the field. And as you step through the fields, this will change and explain what each field does. Now, we've got help on there for probably 90% of stuff. Nova is a fast-moving platform. We develop very quickly, so the help will sometimes lag the reality. But for most of the stuff, you can just hit F1 and see what's happening. If you're on a particular page and you want to get help on that page, for example, here we're on the home page, you can just hit the little question mark over here, and it will give you help on that page. And finally, if you just want to explore the help system on its own, you can go here to help contents, and that will take you in. You can look at the subsystems, communications, maybe you want to look at the different functions we have. Again, all of this is dynamic, it's being built out, and of course it will keep changing, but it's there to provide you with that health information in real time. In terms of diagnostics, there are several things you have available. The most important, I think, is that on every protocol or on every Ethernet or other network interface, you have this little status button. And if you click on status there, you get a tree view on the protocols, and at the driver, device, and group level, you can get statistics and information on the performance if there's any errors, and you can also view the data that's being transferred. For the network, obviously there isn't any data, but nonetheless we get all this diagnostic information as to throughput and IP addresses, is there an external IP address, things like that. The next thing we have is logging. There is logging for each network interface. There is logging for each protocol, and there's also logging for each subsystem. The protocol logging can be controlled through the configuration. So if we come to this Modbus device here under device trace, for example, we might want to show status and transactions. By default, we show errors, but you can turn on more if you want. And under networking here, we can turn on the network trace where we'll look at session and data. And when we enable data, it will bring up a little stop time here. We do try to limit the amount of time that we log data for, because that can burn up an awful lot of storage and also wear out certain memory devices on some devices. So we try to limit that. By default, it will limit to an hour, but if you want, you can remove that limit. It will warn you about the wear on storage devices, but that's up to you. You know what you're doing. Another thing we have beyond the logging is packet capture, of course, and packet capture enables us to come in here, and on a network interface, we can capture packets, download the information, and look at it in Wireshark, as well as allowing you to manually enter the things that you want to select or that you want to capture. You can also just drop down here and pick one of the devices that you want to talk to. So we're actually talking to AWS right now, and you can see that's the IP address we're connected to, and we're talking to a device on Modbus, and you can see there's the IP address and the port. So very quickly you can configure that and get packet capture and see what's going on. In terms of support, there's a few things. First of all, if any of the processors within Nova crash, we record diagnostic dump, and that diagnostic dump, which is encrypted so that it remains secure, we can decrypt at this end, and we can have a look at that and see exactly where the software failed. Now, remember, Nova is multi-process and multi-container, so we try to isolate things as much as possible so that one protocol crashing, which of course should never happen, but if it does, it won't take down anything else. So we have those diagnostic dumps, but the main tool for support is something called the support pack. If you come to Help and Support Pack and click this button, it will generate a single file that contains all your configuration, your logs, your system status, anything that a support engineer might need to diagnose your problem. So if you're having an issue, the most common request you will hear is, can you send us a support pack? And if you give us that support pack, that one zip file, we'll very quickly be able to identify where the issue is. Maybe there's a configuration tweak you need, or maybe there's something we need to do at our end. So again, Nova has been built from the ground up with help and diagnostics and support in mind, because we understand that industrial solutions are getting more complicated, and providing that backstop for our customers is a very important thing for us to do. So that's it. Thank you so much.